Alright, so this particular video is dedicated to day 4 of the NZ classes, and just like in the previous sessions, this is going to be a 3-hour session, and depending on the time schedules here will be different. Just change correspondingly and just key in the date in which day 4 is going to be held. So the main goal of day 4, you can share this with the students, is to be able to go through some listening and reading guided drills for the first 50 minutes, and then for the rest of the sessions we'll be focusing more on the formal and the informal letters, at the same time speaking parts 2 and 3. This is just basically a continuation of the speaking part 1 that was delivered during day 1 of the lectures. So basically at the end of day 4, they shall have covered everything about the speaking test already, and that after going through some additional listening and reading guided drills, and of course some input on letters and the speaking, they should be ready themselves for day 5, which is of course the mock tests, in which they will be answering independently all the subtests of the IELTS. So let's start with listening. In listening, you tell the student that the goal is to cover just 2 sections. And today, the focus will be on sections 1 and 4 of the listening test. So as typically done in session 1, the objective is to be able to get specific information. And so the scenario in this case is a mother inquiring or enrolling her kid in a child care center called ASCO Child Care Center, and the other person, a guy here, will get information from the lady. So the first thing that will be asked is the child's first name, the age of the child, the birthday, and so on. So the manner in which the teacher should be able to cover all of this is that you guide the student on what to expect in each of these numbers over here. And this should be done for about a minute or two. It would help if you answer this yourself so that you may be able to predict which areas students might have difficulty answering. Now, you might also want to tell them that in number 1, they should be able to get the name in which the student will be called at the child care center, because in number 1, students are a little bit confused whether they should write Alexandra or Alex, but the correct answer in this case is Alex. So just take note of that. In number 3, teach them how to write the date. So it should be the day first and the month. In number 5, Brisbane is the city. So what's missing here should be number, house number, and the street name. Emphasize also that it isn't always street. It could also be a road, a lane, a terrace. It could also be an avenue or a boulevard. So you can write these down on the board so that they would know what to expect in the case of number 5. Now, in numbers 7 and 8, these are actually verbs. So guide them to that. Number 9, days of the week, and number 10, pickup time. Let them emphasize whether it should be an AM or a PM. So the correct answer should contain AM, PM. So once you've done the guide, you start playing the audio.
Recording 1C.
Like so.
You will hear the director of a childcare center.
Once you have already finished playing all the audio, then you basically ask the students what the answer, or what are the answers for 1 to 10. So once they confirm, you flash to them on the screen the answer like so, and from there you're done with section 1. Okay, now once you finish section 1, you move on to section 4. Section 4, you tell them, is the most difficult part of the test, and that's because normally in session 4 the topic is a little, well, it's very academic, and that's because the scenario is it's a lecture. So in this example, for instance, the students will be listening to some talk about the history of dentistry, And there are two parts here. So you always tell them that in section 4, there are always different parts, and that these parts will guide them to let them know that they are on track. So basically, they just watch out for the keywords that will be quoted by the speaker, so they'll be able to catch up with the questions and, of course, the corresponding answers. Now, you again guide them. So number one, say is some year or some time. Tooth blank, that's a noun. It could be a plural noun, so emphasize that. There is blank, singular noun. Now, in cases where nouns are given, let them know that it's also possible that these nouns could have accompanying adjectives. So which means number 3 could be a noun phrase. Just like in number 2 earlier, tooth is the adjective that describes the noun in number 2, so therefore it's a noun phrase. Number 4 is about a place, or it could be a particular source. Number 5 and 6 are both nouns. Number 7, since the word Greek is an adjective, this must be a noun. And since it's an a noun, then this is definitely singular. Number 8, the word to means that what should follow is a verb. Number 9, during the, emphasize that this is some period of time. And number 10, what kind of dentistry was founded by a dentist from France? So you basically tell them that, and then once you're done, again, you play the audio.
8B.
And then you, after you're done with the audio part, you basically flash the answers. Normally what I would do here, since this is a difficult part, I normally replay the audio and then tell the students that as the answers are given, they'll be flashed. And that's how it can be done. Because this is a difficult part, and in the past, many students, don't get many answers correctly here. So I'd recommend you repeat the audio, and in the second round, you just basically flash the answers as they are given. That's the end of listening. Now, after the listening part, you move on to some reading.